It's how you feel about yourself. Understanding self-worth. That is the real challenge. Once you begin to understand your own self-worth, I'm telling you, your life will begin to soar. You can walk out of the darkness into the light. You can walk out of heartbreak into confidence. Understanding your own self-worth. Here's a good phrase to take home. Each of us must understand how valuable all of us are. But here's the second part. All of us must understand how valuable each of us are. Is your contribution valuable to the whole? I'm telling you, without you, the whole is incomplete. I'm telling you, it takes each of us to make all of us. Each of us with a contribution. Think how powerful we can be if each of us make a better contribution. In fact, John Kennedy said it best. Surely it's the cry of the new Democratic Party. John Kennedy's ancient words. And he said what? Ask for everything and see what you wind up with. No. 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 John Kennedy said what? Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what? What you can do for your country. I'm asking you to consider yourself valuable enough to make an important contribution to all of us. You make an important contribution to all of us, and then in return you get to draw from all of us and the gifts that we bring to each of us. That is the power. And if you walk away from here today with that new refined attitude, I'm telling you, you can have whatever you want. You can have the health you want, you can have the income you want, you can have the future you want. Your relationship with your family will start to improve immediately. All you got to do is take it serious and do not neglect. Like an apple a day, do not neglect. Like a new book of your new library, do not neglect. An entry in your journal, do not neglect. Don't get lazy in learning. Learning is the beginning of wealth. Learning is the beginning of health. Learning is the beginning of ecstasy and joy and pleasure and lifestyle and all the treasures that are available for the human family. I'm asking you, start a whole new process today. You'll be happy that you did. Your life will change dramatically. And then what I want back, just as a favor from you to me, let me know about it. I like to get the letters. You cannot believe the letters I've got in my files from teenagers and business executives now all over the world. Some of them have to be translated from other languages where I go do seminars like this today. I want that to be part of your story and your experience. That's why I came by to make this kind of investment. I don't need to work this hard, except for that. I could be riding my motorcycle on the Jeep trails today. Right? I don't need to work this hard, but I do need the experience because I want the return. I want this to affect your bank account today. I'm asking you not just to take notes. If you'll go home and work on this stuff, I'm telling you it'll change your life and your future, and that's why I'm here. I want it to happen for you like it happened for me. All right, let's just finish up number 2 on attitude. What shapes our attitude? Let's cover those notes. What shapes our attitude? You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. And of course the other side of the coin reads, unless you change how you are, you'll always have what you got. Success is something you attract, not something you pursue. Success is looking for a good place to stay. So instead of going after it, you work on yourself. Personal development. See, the major question to ask on the job is not what are you getting? The major question to ask on the job is, what are you becoming? See, the big question is not what am I getting paid here. The big question is, what am I becoming here? Because true happiness is not contained in what you get. Happiness is contained in what you become. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. For things to change for you, you've got to change. Otherwise, it isn't going to change. The only way it gets better for you is when you get better. Life and business is like the changing seasons. One of the best ways to describe life, it's like the seasons. You can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself. And see, that's how life gets better for you, not by chance, but by change. Learn how to handle the winters. They come right after falls, with regularity. Some are long, and some are short, and some are hard, and some are easy, but they keep coming. You must learn to handle the nights. They come right after days. You must learn to handle difficulty. It comes right after opportunity. You must learn to handle recessions. They always follow progressions. For the last 6,000. See, it isn't going to change. The lesson you must learn is how to handle it. And there's all kinds of winters, right? The winter when you can't figure it out. The winter when it all goes smash. The winter when it turns belly up. The winter when it won't work, when you've run out of money and you've got a broken heart. See, those are winter times. There's all kinds. Economic winters, social winters, personal winters. When your heart is smashed in 1,000 pieces and the nights are unusually long, your prayers seem to go no higher than your head. It's wintertime. But see, the disappointments come. Those are normal. That's part of life. But the question is, how do you handle it? How do you handle the coming winters and the disappointments and the down times? Well, you can't get rid of January by tearing it off the calendar. But here's what you can do. You can get stronger, you can get wiser, and you can get better. The winters won't change, but you can. And that's how life changes for you. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge. Wish for more wisdom. That's the key.
Yo, what's good? welcome everyone. Alright, cool. Audio should be good. Let me know in case, you guys can't hear me. Drop it in the chat. I'm constantly looking at the chat. I am getting better at it, at least by every episode. So today we actually start a new, I guess not a new series, because we've done a couple of these, but it's never had like a set date as to when we're going to be doing these calls. And so this specific call will either be pre-recorded and dropped, or it will be live. I'll let you guys know on the flyers, of course. I'll let you guys know on the call, on Twitter. I'll keep you guys updated. But for the most part, this market mentorship overview will be every single Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, okay? And yeah, we'll have this every single week, unless I'll let you guys know otherwise on Twitter. I'll let you guys know. But for now, we have 2 set scheduled live calls here on the Inner Wealth YouTube channel. We'll continue to have those 2 calls till further notice. Looking to add on a 3rd call. Now this 3rd call is going to be a little bit differently because it'll be the first of its kind here on the Inner Wealth YouTube channel. It will be a New York live trading session that will be incorporating into the schedule. Now guys, let's paint some clarity here. I love doing this. I love hopping on the charts. I love sharing my thoughts. I love trading. I love investing. I love this whole journey. And most of all, I love the people that I get to meet and speak to. Usually I get to talk to a lot of people all over the world. It's really fun and very joyful. Okay. And I have every single one of you to thank for those experiences. And to be honest, there's the one thing that I do like to do with individuals and also take the time to do alone, and that's trading. So I like my privacy. I personally I've been streaming. I know some of you may have only came across this page a couple weeks, months ago, but I've been personally not on YouTube. YouTube is a new thing for me. I've only been doing the YouTube thing for a couple months, since actually December. So almost 6 months I've been doing the YouTube thing. Almost over 100 videos so far on the YouTube, and recently started doing the live streams about 2 months ago here on YouTube. But before all this, I was doing live Zooms for I Am Academy, Trade House. I had my own branch in Trade House as well. So I've been streaming for a while in terms of trading. Okay, this is just fairly new that it's all transitioned over to just Twitter and YouTube and displaying everything for free. So the goal is still to put out as much information out there for free as I possibly can without over promising and under delivering. Earlier in my journey, I made the mistake to add a little bit too much to the schedule, and I was just not delivering. So without overwhelming myself with too much, I'm planning on doing about 3 live sessions a week and 1 recorded session, if the recorded session comes. 3 live sessions. You got your technical Tuesdays, okay? You got your market mentorship on Thursdays. I was gonna call this Therapy Thursdays. Let me know what you guys think about that name, Therapy Thursdays. If you're in Utah, then you know where that came from. But if you're not from Utah, then what are your thoughts on Therapy Thursdays? Because we're gonna be talking a lot of psychology throughout these Thursdays. We're going to be talking about the market overall, what we got clapped on, what we could have done better, what we can improve on, and what trades we participated on. So, my thoughts was to make this call Therapy Thursdays. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on that. Mondays is when I'm planning on doing that New York session stream. Sorry I got super off track, but Mondays when I'm planning on doing that New York session stream. So if I do end up doing this whole New York session stream, it will be at the 9, like a few minutes before the 9 a.m. the 9:30 open. I will mainly only be reviewing the things that I trade. I won't really be focused on anything else, unfortunately. Like, I don't like adding too much to my trading. I like just focusing on one asset. If somebody asks me to go look at EU, I'll totally do that. But just know that if nobody asks me for anything, I will just straight up look at DXY, the same ones as always. Indices, DXY, that's it. So Mondays, it'll be around the 9:30 a.m. open, stock exchange open. I won't be trading, so we'll more than likely be at the open. I won't be trading till 10 a.m. anyways, so it'll just be watching market. So just be aware of that. That will be coming up here soon. I'm trying to come up with the name. I'm open to ideas. Whatever you guys drop it in the chat. I'm super open to ideas when it comes to the names. I was thinking like monetize Mondays. Like, I don't know, something like that's pretty catchy. Monetize Mondays, because Technical Tuesdays is smooth. Therapy Thursdays, smooth. So I want something smooth for Mondays, like monetize Mondays, money Mondays. I don't want to put money Mondays. I don't know. I don't want to make a stream all about money. Doesn't feel right. Especially that's not what I'm all about. I'm not about the money. I'm not here to chase money. Money is a part of it. It comes. Let's see. Let's go. Cool. Awesome. See in the chat. I can't see anything. I strictly trade NAS. Monk Mondays. Yeah, we'll see what that ends up being. Cool. Yeah. Like I said, guys, the main thing for me is, like, I personally been streaming for such a long time. I like privacy, and not just that, but not every day is a trading day. And I just want to paint that clarity with everyone. It's not every day is a trading day, and sometimes, like, because I'm such a newcomer to streaming, I still, even though I got like 2 years of doing these things live, I still get nervous, and I still sometimes find the urge when I'm streaming to want to catch a trade. Right? I feel the urge to want to provide. Right? It's natural to want to have the urge to provide for other individuals. So, when it comes to the live streams, I'm going to be very limited. I'll keep that one session a week. More than likely will be Mondays, but I'll keep you guys posted on that. You guys will definitely see flyers on it sometime soon, for sure, pretty soon. But until then, you guys can catch me on the Abundant Capital. I know I don't hop on Abundant Capital sessions as much as I used to, but I will be doing that twice a week. I will be hopping on Abundant Capital. We'll be sharing that on Twitter as well. But if you are looking to tune into New York sessions, Abundant Capital. That's my number one suggestion. Go to Abundant Capital. I'll share the link. If anybody wants to share the link on the chat for their YouTube channel, okay, Matthew goes live every single day for New York sessions. And yeah, I will be tuning in there once or twice a week with Matthew. Again, it's mainly because I love my privacy. I love it. You know, for sure we'll be running up news, but that's basically the whole layout of what the next following sessions, months, and schedule is going to be looking like. So I appreciate you guys for, following through week after week. We got about 13 individuals on here. Thank you guys for tuning in week after week. I really appreciate you guys. This has been an incredible journey, and we'll continue to grow and expand our knowledge of the markets. And yeah, you guys are witnessing the growth, right? Like, this is, man, it's just, I'm growing while doing all of this. Just know that too. It's like, this is as much of an experience to me as it is to all of you, and that's my goal, is to create an experience for all of you to take with you and be able to share that experience with other individuals. Is an incredible feeling. And I encourage everyone to do the same thing. If there's any breakthrough, anything that may have clicked in your head, share it down in the comments, or better yet, like, share this video with somebody. While we're breaking down today's price action, I want you guys to really know these few things. One, notice that I'm still looking at the XY despite the lag in correlation with some of the assets. Okay, still marking out the XY. I want you guys to know divergence in intermarket analysis. Notice the divergence in intermarket analysis. Okay, we'll be diving into that mainly today. So DXY. So check it out, guys. We are accumulating pretty hard out of this imbalance here. Okay, accumulating decently hard out of this imbalance here. Okay, so you guys can see that we could potentially take out this high. Like, I'm really looking at this whole range, and yeah, it's a bearish range, bearish on the weekly and everything, but personally, if you look down here, check this out. If you look down here, we come below the lows, and right below the lows we get this accumulation. So I have been looking at this whole weekly range and have determined that, if we don't, and even if we kind of get a rejection out of this imbalance, it's very, it would make sense for us to get a slight rejection out of the imbalance. But for the most part, I'm looking at these previous monthly highs. So we're looking at, 105,888. Weirdly enough, that's a really cool, about 105, almost 106. So I want to say 106 whole level because it's right there. So for now, we'll be calling out the 106 whole level. That's my overall objective for these longs. I think this is a very aggressive way to climb up. We did leave some relative lows, but we took out that monthly low. We took out this monthly low, and we just been pumping up without, any signs of rejection when it comes to, we come into this imbalance, and then look at the way we blasted it up. So personally, I just want to see how we close tomorrow. We could close bearish, but the likelihood is that we'll stay within, this weekly range, or continue moving higher to take out these more of these highs. But notice, look, even on the daily right here, notice the way we came into this imbalance, we closed the entirety of it, and have now the bodies of it are above that imbalance, have now come above that imbalance. So for me, this imbalance, this whole area right here is out of the question, and just kind of looking at higher price action, this previous area of distribution also makes sense. It is an area that I'm still going to be looking at and still consider for possible rejection. And this is a whole ass unmitigated area that swept all of this liquidity right here. Again, it's possible that here within this push up we do get some rejection, so I won't be surprised if we struggle to get to the highs. But overall, I want to see these longs. I'm open for the shorts. I'm gonna be very open-minded for the shorts, but just know that I'm gunning for those. we can go up there. Let's say we have a new month. For the next 5 days of this month, we continue to run bullish, okay? Hypothetically speaking, we continue to run bullish. I would love to see the next month just kind of wake up here and then, create a nice wick to the upside and respect the overall body here. So that would be really nice to see. Of course, that's just hypothetically speaking for the DXY. We can respect this bearishness and still take out all of these equal highs. So just be aware of that, all of that. The weekly, bullish in my eyes right now. Nothing slowing it down. Daily left previous daily high. That's always a really good sign. I love seeing the previous daily high. When we're bullish, I love seeing previous daily high standing. Because if we're starting to reject to the downside right at the beginning of the day, that kind of just tells me, okay, if I'm anticipating a bullish day, then I kind of want to see some downside price action being built up below daily open, and then accumulation out of that, targeting potentially previous daily high, right? That's being the objective, that previous daily high. And so that's something really good that I like to see on DXY, or on just any asset, just a complete dodge of that previous daily high. We did trade it to some insufficiencies earlier today. We have a gap right here, and I want to just point it out to you guys right here. Previous daily opening gap right here, and it was across the board. Indices had it as well. It's actually something that I use for my entries. Okay, we had this previous opening gap. This new day opening gap. We come down into it, right? And we just pull away from it kind of aggressively on DXY. And then we just come down one more time below this low, and then just continue pushing to the upside. I honestly thought we came into that for some reason a little bit deeper than just that. But anyways, we came into this imbalance and just continue pushing to the upside. Really no signs of bearishness today. Not much signs. Come for the lows, run for the highs. Yep. So finally we're getting some 1 hour distribution. We did get some of that on last Friday as well. We just got kind of like a nice rejection. Monday was personally, I would love to see a nice retracement on this. But overall, still bullish. Want to see more longs. We are in an interesting area. Just watching that imbalance. So Monday's longs were really, we're left at Asian lows. Okay. Coming to this area of previous area of accumulation, we leave Asian lows alone. Okay. Here we leave Asian low alone again. Here Asian low was left alone. So you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday and Thursday, yeah. So I think Monday was over here. All right, cool. Sunday opens, we drop down previous daily low, cool. Then we just start running for the highs. This was the manipulation right here. Sunday was very quick with it. We create the low of the whole week. Okay. And then, of course, Tuesday leaves Asian low. Wednesday leaves Asian low. Thursday leaves Asian low. That was the only low we ran. Besides, like, the intraday lows, right? Like these ones right here, of course. We see these very small intraday lows, but besides major lows, when it comes to session, previous daily lows, this was the only one. And just gunning for previous daily highs. Maybe we come down to previous daily low. Maybe. We'll see where we're at tomorrow, really. But the longs, we'll see how this favored indices all week. Okay? How did this favor indices all week? So let's start with Dow Jones. As you guys can see, Dow Jones was the one correlating with DXY pretty nicely. We did short all week very, very nicely. Okay, so we'll dive into that right now. So cool. So now, because we're looking at that high on DXY, I'm reanalyzing, reassessing my monthly objective. My monthly objective for this time was, I believe it was this low over here. We have yet to get to it, but as I'm looking at the monthly structure, I know last time on Technical Tuesdays, I mentioned that this low, it was very unrealistic then because we were so far away, but this whole week we just been straight dumping. So unpredictable enough. I am still looking now at this whole entire low and this whole range to get taken out. We don't have to continue to go long. At least I don't think so. But this low just seems very likely at this point. So now a pretty decently large range was already created this week. And not just that, but we've had a super one-sided week on Dow. Like I know we have down like one-sided weeks before, but super one-sided. I mean, check this out. We take out all those major highs up there, and then previous weekly high, left alone, previous weekly high, left alone, previous weekly high, left alone. Alright, previous weekly lows, wrecked. That was my objective, was 33,000 at the beginning of the week. I've been calling that out, but that got smoked, I think, on Wednesday. And so, yeah, I was just looking at that. I'm like, man, I just continued heading for lows, you know? That's all that made sense to me, just continued looking at lows. We came into this previous area of accumulation. I was looking at this low over here, but honestly, we could get some slight rejection to the upside, right? Like, we have these insufficiencies here in terms of the daily. But look, even on the daily, we failed to sweep previous weekly high. We swept previous daily high, come into a new week opening gap, then reject. Now, then look, this is the new week. That's Friday right here. This is the new week. Monday comes up, fails to sweep any liquidity, moves lower. Then you have Tuesday, fails to come up any higher, moves lower. Then you have Wednesday, fails to come up any higher and just continues to fall. Thursday, same thing. We only been gunning for the lows. We've been totally respecting the highs. See, I don't need to do like a NASDAQ and Dow analysis to know that Dow is a weak asset. Dow is creating lows. Dow is having difficulties running or gunning for highs, swiping the highs, right? And so there's going to come to a point where your price action is done looking for higher time frame objectives when it comes to for entries, It's going to be done running for higher time frame liquidity before making the move. Not always will you have to wait for a previous daily low, previous daily high, previous weekly low, previous weekly high, previous monthly low, previous monthly high. If you were only waiting for those three, you're going to be waiting quite a bit. And not just that, but you can't just short every previous daily high sweep or long every previous daily low sweep. It just doesn't make sense. Okay? It's not a very good, very healthy logic in terms of being more detailed. And yeah, I would just encourage you guys to look at Asian lows, look at the market, the way it's behaving. Are we respecting highs? Do we need to continue respecting highs? Like, yeah, liquidity is the name of the game, but is liquidity present? Does that make sense? You have to identify when the liquidity is present or not. It's present everywhere, where you have to see where it's being pulled towards. Price action is constantly being drawn towards a level of liquidity. Write that down. The market is constantly being drawn to a level of liquidity, and it's up to you, the trader, to determine what level of liquidity is that going to be. Is that a higher time frame liquidity? Is that a Asian session liquidity? Is that a 4-hour low or high liquidity? Is that a 1 hour, is that a 15-minute? So on and so on. You, the trader, have to determine what type of liquidity is sufficient enough to make the move, to trade higher or lower, whatever it is that you're positioning yourself out. Okay? So we're looking at here, straight drops down to this area. Now, before we even came down to this low and created this insufficiency, we were trading up here on Monday. Now, Monday was nice. Okay, Monday comes in. We open with this gap. Okay, we trade higher, and notice this right here. It's nice imbalance here. Okay, nice insufficiency. Now, something that you guys would have noticed is that NASDAQ and Dow were just trading super opposing. So one thing I'm going to add is S&P, and I added a, 1 second. Yeah. Yes, or S&P had some good movement as well. Give me 1 second though. We're gonna move this guy. Okay. So that's NASDAQ and S&P. Okay, down below. And we're just looking for divergence. And when you're looking for, because we're looking for bearish divergence, okay? So when you're looking for bearish divergence, give me 1 sec. Okay, you want to mark out the highs, okay? When you're looking for bearish divergence, you want to mark out the highs, okay? And so for me, the highs here, you have to set these graphs up for the highs. So here you have to go over here, style, and it's going to be this one where it says price sources. It's pointed towards the closures, and you want it at the highs, because you want to see the divergence between the highs. It's here as well. You want it towards the highs, because again, we're looking at the divergence at the highs. Now, I honestly just want to see S&P and Dow. No, I kind of want to see NASDAQ as well. Okay, so we'll look at NASDAQ. 1 sec. NASDAQ and Dow that have been diverging this whole week. Okay, they've been diverging hard. 1 sec. Okay, and so here you guys can see a little bit better. Okay, I know it's kind of hard to see, but I need you guys to follow with me here. Okay, notice this. On Monday, okay, notice we go high, high and low. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I need you guys to follow with me here. We move from the high, lower. Okay. On Dow Jones, we moved from the high and created a higher high. Okay. And so Dow has already taken out that like upside liquidity. Okay. And NASDAQ has failed to take that upside liquidity. Not just that, but Dow ended up melting to the downside, creating a new low. NASDAQ failing to create those new lows. So you guys can see that Dow has already taken out that upside liquidity. So that's why NASDAQ, okay, then creates another level of divergence the next day. And you can see that we're moving higher as Dow here is moving lower. Okay, this is where intermarket analysis gets pretty interesting, because here you can now determine, okay, we have a pretty good idea at least. Give me 1 second. The music for some reason stopped. Okay, so here's where intermarket analysis gets pretty interesting. See how NASDAQ is moving upwards, Dow Jones is moving downwards. Here's where me personally, what I like to see is, okay, so if I know that one asset is selling off and the other asset is gunning for the higher highs, the one that's selling off, I'm going to look for more shorts, the weaker asset. I'm going to look for the lows to get taken. Okay, I'm gonna look for the lows to get taken. Now, when the lows get taken, you know what, some of them, the weaker asset, the lows are gonna get taken with ease, right? The stronger asset, the one that was creating the higher highs, the lows are gonna take a little bit harder time to maintain or take out. Okay, we came back for like this low right here, cool, but Dow Jones just continued creating lower lows, lower highs, and lower lows. NASDAQ created a higher high, a lower low, and then just continue creating higher highs. Okay, Dow Jones continue pushing lower. Why? You can see here at the beginning of the week, the tone was set between the two assets. By Tuesday, by our technical Tuesday, the tone was set. Dow shorts, NASDAQ longs. Okay. So now on Monday, was it? Monday? No, it was Tuesday. So on Tuesday, I was pretty short overall. I was looking for shorts overall, but personally, one thing that I was not able to see was a good position to go short at, except this 4-hour insufficiency here. Okay, so notice we traded into that level of support or level of resistance. Okay, that imbalance created on Friday, respected that level of imbalance. Not just that, but notice, guys, it's never just like, oh, we came into this imbalance and then just melted away. It's like always multiple things that line up together. Check this out. Just like how there's this bearish imbalance here, this is bullish imbalance right here. And notice price comes back to where the price, these two imbalances overlap. Something I've been backtesting, something I've been noticing a lot lately is I'll do this, and I love the zones that have multiple imbalances kind of lining up and overlapping each other. Okay, so then we can see that we got a lower low. After we got that high, we created a lower low into the previous daily low. And here's where I'll go into XPX later, and I'll show you guys the long out of this idea here on Dow Jones. But we come into this new week opening gap and just trade lower, create this 4-hour bearish imbalance, and here's where it got interesting for me. Okay, so really the long idea came out of these equal lows here, okay, and this whole order block. Okay, I did want to see previous daily highs taken before running lower, but it just was not giving it to us. Okay, so my first thought was, okay, Because Dow Jones is the weaker asset, I'm not going to be looking for highs. When you're looking at divergence, okay, when you're doing your intermarket analysis, okay, write that down. If you're going to go long on the weaker asset, okay, it's not that it's a bad thing. It's a lower probability for sure, but it's not that it's a bad thing. What would be the lowest probability is you aiming for a high. When all week long you've just been respecting highs, been respected. So the imbalance here on the 4 hour made the most logical sense in terms of targets when I'm so bearish. Okay, so that 4 hour imbalance here, you guys can see on the right hand side. Again, 1 hour. The 1 hour was the overall. One sec. The 1 hour order block was the overall area that I was looking for. Once we came into that area, it was around the 1 minute that I was looking for some longs. Okay, and after the open, we had some, what was it? I think it was PPI or PMI news. Okay, there's some news, and so I really like the longs that we got out of those news, and we held that price at the open. So check this out. We get the open, we create a higher high, higher low, hold that price level here. Now news come in at 9:45. Super weird time, but it is what it is. 9:45. The only times that I won't pull it before 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. is when there's news. And so you guys can see at 9:45 we had these news come back down. This is where I personally enter with my stop loss with enough room for both imbalances, just in case. And you guys can see right there, boom, nice 1 to 4 right away. Super clean, super simple. Okay, and then here on the 5 minute, check this out. Here on the 5 minute, we come back and do it again before gunning for the highs. So re-entries were offered. Okay, re-entries were definitely offered. Anyways, then we had NASDAQ today. I'll go through that right now. Okay, so NASDAQ, guys, we've been gunning for this high for a really long time. It's been a while. I mean, first I was gunning for this high, then, this high. Now we went for this high, and the ultimate goal was 14,000. And you guys can see that right there. We did definitely achieve 14,000. So now that we've hit 14,000 on NASDAQ, excuse me on that. Now that we've hit that 14,000 level on NASDAQ, I'd personally start looking for potential shorts now for once. But NASDAQ is still extremely bull. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. For sure, I want to see what rejection we get from NAS. We still haven't taken the previous daily high, but overall this long idea came because on Monday we have this nice long idea, but we were going for that previous weekly high, right on Monday. And again, DXY was not complementing, but when it was complementing was on Tuesday, when we come in, sweep previous weekly high, and just melt while the DXY is just pumping. DXY is pumping to the upside, big huge white candle, and here on NASDAQ we had a big down push. And so we come into previous daily lows out of this whole daily range. And here's where intermarket analysis gets pretty important, and it's, let's look at adding Dow Jones. Okay, so now let's look at Dow Jones, and let's add it to a new pane down below. Cool. And we're going to unlock that, and we're going to also unlock here. Cool. So we're going to actually measure this one by the lows. Okay, so the low. Boom. And we're going to do one, I think 30-minute will do. Okay, so now 30-minute Dow Jones is down at the bottom, okay? Then you have 30-minute up top on NASDAQ. Okay, and one thing I want to point out to you guys is when you're looking for an intermarket analysis, we've already determined that NASDAQ is the long. Okay, we hit those targets very nicely, but before we hit those targets, I was still looking for longs. And look at this. Look at this, guys. Equal highs. Then you have 14,000 right above. Then you have that previous monthly high over there. Guys, this setup was so obvious. We're chilling right below liquidity. Yeah, we didn't take out lows. Who cares? We don't need liquidity to run for more liquidity if you already have enough. Earlier in the week, we had two very short moments to the downside to sweep liquidity. We don't need more lows. Now, what confirms that we don't need more lows is the fact that both Dow Jones and NASDAQ had the Asian low intact up until this moment. Okay, Asian low and Asian low. Dow hits it right there. Dow hits it right there. Barely taps it. Okay. And at this point, I'm mentioning the fact that I want to wait for 10 a.m. Okay. So we'll go into the 15-minute. You guys can see here this new day opening gap. I like this imbalance here. Okay. And I like the fact that we're having divergence. Okay, look at the lows. Dow is the weaker asset. NASDAQ is failing to create lower lows. It's failing to come to Asian low. Intermarket analysis, when two assets have very similar areas, just like on Dow Jones and NASDAQ, when two assets have very similar areas, the likelihood is one will hit it and the other one will not. It's just how it is. When assets are diverging and assets have the same areas, the likelihood is that they will not both hit that same area. One will hit it and the other one won't. Dow makes sense to hit it because it was overall weaker. Okay, NASDAQ doesn't make sense to hit it because it has so much liquidity to the upside. Like once we hit those highs, I feel like we're just gonna melt. We're gonna start melting towards the downside, right? And we have a lot of targets towards the downside on this very, very bullish asset. So that's how you determine that the likelihood is that we're gonna struggle to move higher on Dow, and NASDAQ is going to go higher with a lot more ease. Now here's where I was kind of losing hope on price action, was right here when this 15-minute did this, and then I go to the 5-minute. I'm like, oh man, the 5-minute broke. This is just internal liquidity on the 1-minute. The 1-minute looked pretty good. I had the 2-minute imbalance here. Everything looked pretty solid, right? But what I was mentioning on the call, I was like, you know what? We may come back for this 4-hour imbalance, right? Below this low. But the reason that I personally went in was because again, NASDAQ was failing to take out any lows. So after 10 a.m. came, all I wanted was this current 15-minute low to be taken out before I went in. I went into first and then my second entry down here. Okay. But first entry right there. Stop loss right at that, kind of giving that whole imbalance some room. Okay. And then just aiming for that high overall. Yeah. Okay. So again, this is the 15-minute here on the right. You guys can see this is the current 15-minute low that came into that 15-minute imbalance, and that's when I was just kind of losing hope on the setup. And then, you know, 10 a.m. came, or yeah, 10 a.m. We take out that initial 10 a.m. Price action, or that previous 10 a.m. low. And there it is. We just kind of sweep that liquidity. You guys kind of see that? Initial 10 a.m. low. We come in, kind of sweep that. That's just all I was waiting for. I was waiting for a new 15-minute candle. It's like, all right, I'm going to go in right here because clearly we're failing to go any lower. It was just a simple intermarket analysis. If we were to go lower, notice I had enough room to go lower, and I had to add another position right there. Now, I'm not going to say I had the fattest position here because I definitely didn't. I had only half risk, half of my overall risk on here. So I secured no partials. I just let this whole thing ride, and you guys can kind of see how that ended up playing out. And now we got obviously like this whole rejection, but we did overall achieve that 14,000, right? So shout out to us. We definitely nailed that trade, and we'll potentially get some slight rejection. I won't be surprised, but it'd be really, really weird if we only had one tap into that high and then we just fell off the freaking face of the planet. It'd be very, very weird, but I like the fact that we barely have any lows to the downside. So if we were to take out this entire range, it'd be a pretty straight free fall to the downside. So we'll see what ends up playing now, but for the most part, I want to see at least another poke up here before, you know, getting these shorts going. So yeah, guys, it's all about just being patient, and I'll definitely go over gold and we'll wrap it up right there. Shit, I haven't looked at gold in a couple weeks, so we're gonna have to excuse my I see. Just this whole area gets my attention now. Jesus. Yeah, I haven't traded gold in a while. All right. Gold, we did come very close here. Hold on. Very, very close. We did take out some liquidity. We still got some more lows, but we did take out a lot of liquidity down here. Let's see. Previous monthly low as well. Yeah, just beware. We took out that previous monthly low. We could get some rejection out of that area, but overall, we still got some more previous weekly lows down. May not come right away, of course. We may be building up this like relative lows, liquidity, and then you have this whole range that swept liquidity here. So yeah, looking at that high. You know, the shorts earlier today were probably really clean right above that Asian high. Yeah, super clean. Because then you still had all those lows. Those previous daily lows there. But we take out that high. We don't really worry about that until we shift structure to the downside, which is that shift right there, meaning we take out the low, then we create a lower high, take out some equal highs, and the only thing that you have is that insufficiency there. Super clean shorts. Super clean shorts to the lows. They take out all of those lows too. So yeah, no, I mean, that trade actually had a lot of potential. So some really good risk to reward. Nice 1, 2, 3, and then of course you have this other low right here. Yeah, a lot of really good trades. I noticed that lately, like, I have not been going into the smaller time frames too much. Barely do I go into the 1 minute. So, you know, these 5 minute, 15-minute entries are really playing out nice. Anyways, guys, gold looks pretty nice to do a little bit of a retracement. I wouldn't be surprised if we go above this previous daily high here, and then overall just continue shorting. There's a pretty solid ass imbalance right here, so my eyes go there for longs into that area. So I will not be participating in that though. Just an FYI, I don't trade gold. I respect you though if you trade gold. Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys for hopping on, being here week after week, day after day. Again, we'll be showing up every Thursday at the same time, every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern time. I look forward to seeing you guys on here. Let me know, comments down below, any questions, comments, or observations that you have made throughout the call. And yeah, guys, stay tuned, okay? Stay tuned to every single call, because Twitter and the calls will always have something to do with the previous one. We're just following up, right? We're staying in touch with the market. We're following through. Okay, so follow through with the whole mentorship. This isn't going to be going on forever. I'm definitely not going to be doing this forever, you know. Definitely all through 2023, and I'll keep you guys posted for 2024. But throughout 2023, you guys got my full commitment. Let's go. Let's continue to grow. Let's continue to experience the market at a higher quality. And yeah, guys, whatever you guys need, don't hesitate to hit me up down below. I noticed that I've been getting a lot of free consultations. Guys, remember, my 6-month program, the enrollment is open. So if you guys are inquiring about the 6-month program, want to learn how I mark up the charts, want to learn my approach to the markets, want to work closely with me on a one-on-one environment, that's the opportunity. Book down below. The link down below will say inquire about 6-month program. That's the one, guys. It's a free consultation. It'll be a small interview. I'll see you guys on there. See if you qualify for that 6-month program. It's a limited amount of positions. It's only 6 spots. I've already booked one out, so there's only 5 spots left. But yeah, guys, I'll open up these spots twice a year. So if you can't book this one out, it's cool. Don't worry about it. There'll always be more. So until then, guys, take care. Have an amazing rest of your week. I'm done trading for the week. I will see you guys tomorrow on Twitter in the morning. Take care. Have fun. Peace.
It's not the weather. Learn how to take advantage of the spring. I used to blame the weather. Put that in parentheses here. Same. What people do, that's what's different. For your notes, here it is. It's not what happens that determines the quality or the quantity of your life. It's not what happens. And the reason is because what happens happens to about everybody. No different. The sun went down on all of us last night. A common event, a happening. And I found out that the same things can happen to two different people. One gets rich and one stays poor. Why is that? It's because it's not what happens, but rather it's what you do that changes everything. So that's a key phrase. It's not what happens, it's what you do. What happens is about the same. You might put that in parentheses here. Same. What people do, that's what's different. Anything can happen, right? Everything can happen. I've heard all the stories. I've been one of the stories. Hey, we could all tell stories all night long, right? Happenings. Anything can happen. Have you heard of Murphy's Laws? Anybody here heard of Murphy's Laws? Okay, most of you have. Murph had these laws. One of them was, if anything can go wrong, it will. That's one of Murphy's Laws. He was not one of the great positive speakers of the day. But anyway, it's still true though, right? Anything can go wrong, everything can go wrong. For sure. I've fallen out of the sky so many times. Once to the tune of a couple of million. Devastating. Took me a while to survive that one. Now, it wasn't all that much, but it was all I had. Right? I mean, that's when it's much, right? When it's all you got. If you got 3, 2 go, you got 1 left, you ain't looking that bad. But when it all goes. Has anybody been there when it all went? Anybody? Come on, the rest of you liars. Go ahead. Hey, we've all been there, right? When it all went. Of course, it used to be a long time ago, right? When you ran out of money, got to 0, you were all through. Heck, now you can whistle right on by 0, right? I mean, they will bury you. That's what they will do. But see, those are the happenings, right? Everything can happen. Anything can happen. But it's not the happenings. It's what you do about it. Somebody says, yeah, but you don't understand the disappointments I've had. Come on. Everybody's had their share. Disappointments are not special gifts reserved for the poor. Everybody has them. The difference is what you do about it. It's not the weather. I used to blame the weather, and I discovered it rains on the rich. So see, that won't help. 2 men wake up one morning, there's a rainstorm on. One of them looks out his window, sees the rainstorm, and he says, wow, what a storm. With weather like this, they can't expect you to go out and make sales. He stays home. Same morning, the other guy looks out his window, sees the same storm, says, wow, what a storm. But he says, you know what, with weather like this, what a great day to go out and make sales. Most everybody will probably be home, especially the salesman. See, that's the difference in how your life works out. It's not what happens, it's what you do. So here's one of the key questions of the evening. Starting tomorrow, what are you going to do that'll make a change in your life's direction? Good question. What are you going to do starting tomorrow that'll make a difference? Now see, if you don't do something starting tomorrow that'll make a difference, guess what? It's gonna be the same. And see, that way you can guess what the next 5 years are going to be like. Look at the last 5. Because the next 5 are going to be like the last 5 unless you, major key, tomorrow, change it all. Or change a little, or change something, or don't change. It's choice time. You can do whatever you want. But it's nice to know any day you wish you can change your whole life.